Welcome Copic fans, this is Copic in the Craft Room. My name is Michelle Houghton. I had a request a few weeks ago. I shared a lot of information about the earth tones, the Copic earth tones, how that portion of our numbering system works. And I shared this color chart. These are all earth tones. They range from the peach to the purple and gray to the greens, but these are the earth tones from Copic, from the 0s to the 9s. And then I shared at the very end two images that we use in the Copic class, the workshop, vintage values and monotones. I had a couple people on YouTube ask if I would specifically show how to color those. I am not going to show how to color those images because those images are specifically used in our vintage values and monotones class. They're specifically for that class. But I will show you, because it is a unique look, I will show you how I did that on a different image. This is a Some Odd Girls image. And the concept is that you're pulling pieces, kind of working one piece at a time, skin, hair, clothing. This image doesn't have as many pieces as some of those others, but it will give you that concept. So I'm going to choose one range for each of those areas. So today I think she might be kind of have the peach tones for skin, which is kind of a, or we could do olives. Let's do the 50s for skin tone. So I'm going to use 50s for a skin tone. I can come in and use something like the mauve or those 70s for her eyes. She could have a real reddish hair tone, so I might use the 1s for the red hair tone. And then she has just a piece of her top showing, so just to add some interest, I might go to the 80s for that, because then she can have some real color on and show you the difference. So I'm going to start with her skin. So I'm going to start with those E50s. So I'm starting with E50, and I'm going to go ahead and base her entire skin area with that. I do go over her eyebrow. I'm just not worried about that. I know the hair is going to get darker. I'm really careful, especially with a Some Odd Girls image, to go around the whites of her eyes and not inside the eye. Now I'm adding my first layer of shading with E53 or 53. The light's coming in from that right-hand side. Her face is three-dimensional, so we have shading on both sides, but to the left of the nose. E55 is going to be my deepest shadow in the skin tones. This color does sometimes have a little bit of a green to it, but notice I go primarily down that left side. E53 to start blending back. Should have a really strong light source at this point. E50 is that last color, that lightest skin tone, just to soften all of those blends. I'm going back with E55 to create a cast shadow under her bangs, under her chin, and also where the braid comes over her shoulder. E70 is the base of her eyes. It has that kind of coolish color to it. E71 from the top down on both irises. E74 to finish off the eyes. E81 is what I'm going to add to the shirt. It has this kind of olive greenish tint to it, really pretty moss earth tone. E84 for mid-tone. I went back with E81 because I wanted to make sure to hit some of those highlights. E87 is going to be the deepest shadow areas, into the wrinkles, bottom edge, a little bit of blending with E84 and E81 again. I really want to keep that top edge light where the light is probably catching. E11 is going to be the base of her hair. Again, I choose mostly to base the entire hair and not leave white. That's a personal choice. You absolutely can leave a white highlight for shiny white, for that shiny white highlight. I went back and added a little E87 to her hair tie. E13 is my first mid-tone on her hair. Remember, it's going to go right around the nape of her neck. It's going to get really dark. Where the braid comes back in on itself is going to flick out from there to get those areas dark, from the crown of the head down, from the outer edges up. She has gorgeous hair. It's a fun head of hair to color. E15, I'm going to hit that eyebrow, and then I'm going to go back into those same areas. The artist has given us great lines to work with. Notice again right around her neck, and then all those little tiny creases where the braid comes in and out get hit with those darker colors. Less with the E15, just because it is one of those darker shades, but we're not quite done yet. E19 is the last color I'm going to bring in. Has a beautiful reddish tone to it, so it gives her kind of that reddish hair. Focusing in now at this point in those really dark areas just to really highlight and push the hair tone. Lastly, E11, just to soften the edges of that from the center out, one light flick. So hopefully you could see, and as I talked you through that, you can see what was going on. This image is done completely in earth tones. I have the fives, I have the 7s on her eyes, I have the 1s on her hair, and I have the 8s for her little top, but all earth tones. And you can see the amazing range of colors you get. I love how she turned out. Simple blending groups, because they're all right within that saturation number, although with earth tones we know that doesn't mean quite the same thing. But I hope this gives you a good idea of how I did those images, and that you can find an image within your own stash that you would love to try this with, kind of experiment with your earth tones. I'm going to do a photo tutorial as well, where I take one stamp 9 times over and show you the comparison on a stamp versus just on the color chart. So stay tuned for that, but try your own, create your own stamp kind of value scale for yourself so you can see what all those earth tones really can do. Thank you for joining me again this week. Have a happy, colorful week.